Namaste, and welcome to Forest Yogin Talks. The winter. The best time to meditate, inside or out. Outside, all you have to do is buy the right gear, base layer down. In winter, there are fewer distractions. There's more oxygen in the air with each breath, so you're more conscious. Each breath is like breathing bottled oxygen. It's like a motor. They intercool the motor to give it more horsepower. Or outside you get more horsepower for awaking to your mind's nature. The Himalaya is the abode of the snow. The Tibetans had an unfair advantage to be so isolated in the snow. That's why their awareness of the mind's nature is as subtle as it is. All right. So today we're going to talk about meditation instructions. So in a nutshell, in the West, it's better for us. This is a cultural relativity now. Like Tibetans practice with eyes open, but Indians usually practice with eyes closed. For us in the West, the vast majority of people should have eyes open. And if you've had your eyes closed, then you have to dig yourself out of a hole. But it's a blessing, because down the road you'll be able to help someone when they reach those obstacles. You'll discover its nature, you'll see it, you'll dig yourself out of the hole, you'll calm your mind, you'll calm the lake of the mind, and you'll be able to help others. But it develops attachment of being withdrawn into a cocoon, withdrawn from the world. Our eyes are open so we can remain fully engaged in the world as we awaken to our nature. Because closing our eyes puts us in a cocoon and layers that cocoon. And if we're in a cocoon, it helps us come out. So in Shamatha meditation, there's a physical atonement, Shamatha Vipasana meditation. The first word, Shamatha, was incorrectly translated as meditation. It really means calm or peaceful abiding. We still use the word meditation. The second word, Vipassana, is the contemplating or gaining insight. And at first we contemplate mundane things like, do I take this job and do I buy this car? And do I ask that person out? Then eventually it's what's the mind's nature. But often you have to practice for months and years in Shamatha before you enter into Vipassana. And Shamatha Vipasana continues. We don't drop it and let it go. It continues to the highest practices of Dzogchen and Mahamudra and Mahāti, which is Dzogchen. So we don't get rid of Shamatha Vipasana once we get to a point. It gets subtler and subtler, and it's a foundation, and it carries forward. All practices carry forward to the subtler practices. So there's a physical atonement, as I started to say there earlier. Because we don't sit in the middle of the floor, we sit in chairs and our backs are supported. These muscles of atrophy that have been around with us for millennia, because the last 100 years we're in chairs more. So it takes a little, even when you're upright perfect, your back has to get some atonement, build up an anaerobic enzyme, build up the muscle of the back. There can just be a little backache that's not sustaining. It goes away when you later on in the day after you meditate. But if you lean forward, you're actually making it worse. And if it takes 10 minutes for your back to get sore leaning just a little forward, then when you straighten up, it takes almost 10 minutes for it to go away. You have to be on a level surface. You shouldn't meditate on a pillow. It should be some couch cushions or blankets or meditation cushions. But a pillow, if you're off like this, if I'm leaning to the left, my upper right back will hurt after an hour or so, a half hour or so. And in general, you don't start with a lot. You start with 10 minutes a few times a week, and you grow that. You take guidance from experienced meditators and so on. So we're sitting here, upright spine, don't have a special mudra. If you have a special mudra and you say, well, I have to use a special mudra, that's attachment. Cut it. Just let your hands rest. If you can't stop something, that's attachment. And attachment destroys all practice. Whether it's, like vodka or heroin or meditation or butter. Different volatilities, but any attachment destroys. An alcoholic is not someone who has a drink every day. It's someone who has a drink every day, and it's destructive to relationships. All right. So, tall spine, a smile. You cannot see what's happening in yoga with the intellect. It will reject things, and you cannot see what's happening in meditation without a smile or a joyful mind. Now, we're not robots. We're not always joyful. Sometimes we're sad. And as I mentioned in other videos, they're not separate things. Once we see that they're the same, joy and sadness are the same, joy is more accessible. And we can arouse it easier. But that would be in the video of dualism. All right. So, thought comes in the mind. It's not right or wrong. It's not right or wrong. We simply return to that light ujjayi breath. Now, self-judgment is the biggest obstacle in the West. So, judging yourself is like a tree falling down in front of you on the path of yoga and dharma as an obstacle that you've put there. Nobody else has put it there. You have. When I was young and I practiced Kung Fu, we would use the opponent's strength and energy and centrifugal force against them. Well, when you judge yourself, you're using your own energy, your own prana against you. Something to think about. So, thought comes in the mind, we simply return to that light ujjayi breath. As the shampoo bottle says, repeat if necessary until attaining enlightenment. So, it's a practice. It's a practice of we're retraining the mind to be itself. And one of the first obstacles you'll notice as you commit to meditation is that it's difficult to look at a part of you that's untamed. So as I often do in yoga class, I go, in one corner we have the crazy monkey mind that's untamed, and in the other corner we have the ordinary awakened mind. Not special, ordinary awakened, enlightened mind. So, I aspire for that mind, your natural state, to be victorious, but this is what's required, this type of work, this type of meditation, and it works. The good news is, it can tame your mind. Just think of a second, if my mind was tame, if it didn't control me, how great that would be. So use that as motivation to meditate. There's all kinds of pitfalls and so on. You need guides, that's with you, and people that can coach you. Go into places like Zen centers and Shambhala centers where they're experienced meditators. It's that simple. All right. So we'll just do a little 10 seconds here. So, the bell. 1 bell means the beginning, 2 bell means a break, and 3 bell means the end of the day. So, thoughts coming in the mind. Should I get groceries after this? Don't do anything with it. Don't say, don't do a Homer Simpson and go, "Do." Just return to the breath. So you didn't judge yourself. You didn't cause some dark karma and create some obstacles. You simply return to the breath. And then eventually you can resolve the karma that you've created in the past. So again, looking ahead, eyes open, simply return to that light ujjayi breath. Repeat if necessary. I hope this helps you on your path of yoga and dharma. Namaste.